Welcome to another episode of STO Nation, a production of Park Media. Before I introduce today's guest, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share, and leave a 5-star review. And if you find this podcast useful in any way and want to pay us the ultimate compliment, head on over to our Patreon page where you can subscribe to be a Classic, Stealth, or Beast Mode subscriber. On this episode, I had the pleasure to talk to Joe and Kait, and you might know them from their YouTube channel, We're the Russos. We had a great conversation about their background, why they live the van life, some tips while doing van life, and a great conversation about how important our storyteller community is. Also in this episode, I made the prediction that the Russos will be in a beast mode in less than 2 years and even might have their own Russo edition of the beast mode. I don't know, but what I do know is that I found it very suspect that they were at the Storyteller HQ at the time that we recorded this podcast. So, I don't know, but that's my prediction. And lastly, at the end of the podcast, there's a bonus if you're watching the YouTube version because you can see my dog Kimchi make an unannounced STO Nation debut. So sit back and relax, and please welcome to the STO Nation family, Joe and Kait Russo. Joe and Kait, thank you so much for coming on to STO Nation. I really appreciate your time, and I'm just going to say before we even start that I have been watching you guys for years. Or let me rephrase it, I've been stalking you guys for years since the old Heimer days and whatnot. But I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you for having us on. I mean, really, it's the fact that you thought of us. I think we've always been big fans of Storyteller from the beginning, ever since we discovered them. And I love what you're doing with the podcast. Just introducing everyone to the community. I listened to the first episode with Paul, and it's just really nice to get to know everyone who owns a Storyteller and hear their story and all the mods he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, so don't screw it up.
Oh. Yes, sir.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Okay. So for those that don't know who you are, which I would find very hard to believe that anybody in the Storyteller community don't know who you are. But just in case anyone that doesn't know who you are, do you mind just giving a quick background?
Sure. So Joe, Kait Russo, we've been on the road since 2015. When we first hit the road, it was only to be, take a year off and do it. A month in, we realized, hey, this is something we need to keep doing. We can't go back to our old lives in a sticks and bricks house working the corporate type jobs. So we decided to make a go of it and started a website, we'retherussos.com, as well as a YouTube channel. And they really started to pick up, and it's kept us on the road all these years. We started with a Class A, towing a Jeep.
Yeah, it's been quite the iteration for us. Yep. We started with 2 big dogs, so we needed a bigger RV, but we enjoyed the off-road aspects. So we had a Jeep Wrangler that we towed. And then we downsized to a van, as you know, the Heimer. And then we spent quite a bit of time testing different vans.
Yeah.
Including the Storyteller.
Storytellers.
Yeah, Storytellers.
Multiple.
And then,
you got to test more than one. So the Ford Transit and the Mercedes one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've taken the Ford Transit out. We spent, I think, 4 months in that. Spent a month in the Mercedes, and then some time in one of the Beasts.
Okay, so what do you think about when you compare the Ford Transit chassis to the Mercedes chassis? What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, well, I like the headroom of the Ford. I will say the Mercedes, like the cockpit area, is just the 2019 Mercedes and up. The cockpit area is really nice.
Comfortable
seats. Yeah, super comfortable. Power, got to give it to the Ford with the EcoBoost. That thing is a beast.
And we should clarify. So the transit mode that we took out was their first prototype. So that was converted to 4-wheel drive by Quigley.
Yes. It wasn't the all-wheel
drive. Mm-hmm. So it was a true 4x4.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't remember the year of the vehicle, but it's not the newer iteration that's out now on the Ford Transit platform. So I can't really speak. We did one test drive in a Ford Transit for 15, 20 minutes.
The all-wheel drive.
Yeah, the all-wheel drive version. Really nice. I really like the new cockpit. We just haven't spent much time in it. But the Mercedes, I mean, we've taken it off road. We've, done stuff like that with it, and it handles it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think our favorite part of driving the Transit was taking it to Tokerville Falls in Utah. I don't know if you've been out there, but the first time we went there was in our Jeep Wrangler when we were towing it with the Class A, and it was a lot of fun to be able to take a mode up on that same place, the same road, and see how it handled.
Yeah, we got to play with the beast a bit off-road and enjoyed it, but we didn't get to take it to places like we did with the Transit. So it's hard to compare the two. And we've never taken an all-wheel drive Transit off-road, so I have no idea how that's going to do.
Yeah, there's no baseline. I gotcha.
Have you taken your mode off-road, done some pretty good trails?
Oh, yeah. Well, the only off-mode I really did was in Big Bend, and I had the ARB air compressor, and then I don't know why I didn't air down my tires. I was just really scared because it was my first time, but I'm a little wimpy person when it comes to that. But I mean, it's kind of weird, and maybe you can contest to this, but when you're taking your home down a 4x4 road, it's a little scary to well, at least that's me. So I guess I'm overly cautious, but I have taken it that one time when I was in Big Bend, and I had a fun time. And I'm sure I'll do it again because I'm going to go to Utah here shortly. So I'm pretty sure I'll get into something, but I'm just so afraid of having something break down and being all by myself. But that's me.
It happens.
I will say, if you do make it to Northern California, there is a gentleman who teaches an weekend off-road course, and it's called Off-Road Safety Academy. And Joe took a recovery course there, and that has, I think, really prepared us for anything that could possibly go wrong if we're...
Well, not anything. I mean, we could certainly quite a bit. It's like he teaches you how to recover your vehicle. And what's interesting is now that I've taken that class and I know how to properly use max tracks, I know how to properly winch a vehicle out, air down your tires, all of that stuff. When I watch videos on YouTube now of people getting their vans stuck in the snow or mud, stuff like that, and I see them trying to use max tracks, I'm like yelling at the computer, "You're doing it all wrong. You would have been out of this in 5 minutes had you just learned how to use the equipment properly." So it's really helpful to take a class like that. And what's fun is you take your vehicle out there, you get it stuck, and then you have to recover it. So it's not just theory, you're actually doing it. And I also learned now I can, in the field, essentially with my bare hands and a few tools that I have, I can take a wheel off the vehicle, take the tire off the rim, put a new tire on, and seat the bead and everything else, and then drive out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like all skills that everyone needs when they go 4x4ing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to hit them up for sure. Thank you for that tip.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
A good confidence builder.
Yeah.
Not the van to go fun places.
Exactly.
And like you said, you're by yourself, so to have the skill to get yourself out if something happens is good to have.
Yeah. So out of all the years that you guys have been living the nomadic lifestyle, what are some of the huge milestones that you guys have experienced?
You mean being comfortable with pooping in a bucket?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
The bathroom situation.
Yeah, dealing with the bathroom situation is a big milestone.
A small space. And getting comfortable with your partner.
Yeah, not killing each other.
What are some tricks on that one? Because you're both still alive, so it's working, whatever it is.
Yeah, you have to communicate.
And communicate well, we always say.
Yeah. Because if I see that Kate is starting to go down some
grumpy tunnel.
Yeah, grumpy Kate is starting to pop out. I know I have to talk to her about it and figure out what did I do or didn't do.
I asked him to call me out on it because then we can talk about it and then get over it.
Yeah, because
instead of stewing on it.
If you're mad at each other in a small space, it doesn't work. You have to be able to let stuff go.
Yeah.
You just look past certain things. The bathroom situation, we'll say that one again. And I think the other one was minimizing. like that huge milestone. Coming from like the house to the Class A was a big thing for us, but going from the Class A where you think you have everything that's essential, and now you're moving into a space that holds probably like an eighth of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Essential takes on a whole new term.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
So out of all the years on the road as well, what are some good lessons that you can pass on to the listeners?
So you have to be, I think the big thing we always preach to people is be flexible.
And be prepared.
Be prepared. As prepared as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing, if you're going off-roading out to places, a lot of times once you get back there, there's no cell coverage. So if you broke down or something happened, you hurt yourself, whatever it is, how do you get out of that? And that's one of the reasons we carry a Garmin InReach, just so we can like text someone, or if we have to, we can call in search and rescue, and even not necessarily only for us. We've been hiking a few places, and you see some people out there that if they fall, had a heart attack or something else, you're going to have to run the however many miles back to a spot where you can make a phone call or get help, when you can just take your Garmin and hit SOS.
And more than that, it's a peace of mind for our family, because every time if we're out of cell service, we send them GPS points or a message to say, this is where we are. Everything is fine.
Yeah. And I think going back to the flexible part, I think a lot of stress for people, especially those who are first timers on the road, or they just do it as a weekend basis or go out a week at a time, is they try to plan all of this stuff. And once you get out there, it's like what they say in the military, a plan is only lasts until first contact with the enemy, right? So as soon as you get out there in the van, weather can change. You might blow a tire. Someone may not feel well, whatever. And you have to be flexible and work around that and say, okay, well, we had made tentative plans to do this stuff, but maybe we change them and do something else.
Yeah. I'm trying to think through. So we have like 12 tips on how to survive RV living. And,
on our website, yeah.
And that's covered. Yeah. Communicate. Be prepared.
Be flexible.
Oh, and have fun, of course.
Oh,
most important,
yes, of
have
course.
fun. We have a fun fund that we pull out of, because every once in a while, if you're rolling through Fort Wilderness in Disney World, you might want to splurge on a $80 a night campsite and just camp at Disney World for a few days.
$80 is during off season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it goes up to like well over $100 per night.
Yeah, but it's an experience if you're a Disney fan or like amusement parks. Gotta have fun. And maybe
absolutely.
Yeah. If you're doing it to be social, I would say, go out, have fun, enjoy meeting people on the road, build your community.
Yeah. And you also have to figure out the way you want to travel. Like we get a lot of people who email us or leave comments on videos and things, and they want to know, like, for example, what is the best way to travel, or how should I RV? Any of these other things. And our response is always, well, that's really up to you to figure out. How we do it works for us, and our lifestyle and our level of flexibility and comfort, how comfortable we are doing certain things. So it's going to vary for everyone. And I think something we did in the beginning, especially me, is I tend to over-research things. So when we were researching like living out on the road, I had all these like expectations and things I thought were going to happen or we had to do. And when you get out there, all that kind of falls apart, and you realize that you were basing all of this stuff that you thought you had to do around other people's experiences.
And they might not necessarily apply to how you want to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've been on the road for a little while now. What do you feel like were some of the things that you learned?
Oh, well, I learned not to park in a Walmart because that's where I got hit.
Oh, no.
Walmart's crazy. Yeah. It went down in Roswell. This guy that, I don't know, he just ended up backing into the broadside of me. And there was someone in a Class A in front of me that saw all of it go down. And so after he hit and ran, I went and talked to him, and he's like, yeah, we saw it, and we don't know why he backed in, because you're literally like right there. It's not like he couldn't see you. But so that's one thing that I learned is I'll never park in a Walmart again. I think I think the community is probably the biggest thing that I learned since I've been on the road by myself, which is probably why I started this podcast. So that's the one thing that I probably learned the most is that when you're on the road by yourself, you still have a community,
Yep.
you can still be social. You can, still talk to people and not feel lonely, because I don't know about you guys. Well, but so there's times where like I'm kind of lonely. It's just me in the middle of nowhere, and I'm just like, what in the world am I doing? Why am I doing this again? It's just like, but you just gotta, like what you said, Joe, is just be flexible.
Yeah.
And just remember why you're doing it. You're doing it for the adventure. You're doing it for the community. You're doing it to prove to yourself that you can do it sometimes. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah.
Well, I will
That's
say,
what I've learned.
like, speaking of community, one thing we felt very similar to you, even though we had each other. When we first hit the road, I remember telling Kate I felt lonely because you don't have your friends with you. We weren't going into the office every day, and you have friends and people at the office you chat with and stuff, go out to lunch with. And just, I think a big thing too was the community we had built up around our neighborhood. So, you have like your favorite Chinese or pizza spot or, the grocery store you go to, and you just happen to know people that work there, stuff like that. And once you hit the road, you leave all that behind. Well, I think over the course of the last going on 6 years now, we've built that community up again. So it went from this little bubble in Los Angeles to this, giant bubble that covers most of the country where we know people all around the country. We have our favorite spots. Like when we roll through Tucson, we swing by Barrio Bread. And just, little stuff like that. So it just, you
Yeah.
grow your community. It's part of
Exactly. And it's kind of like family. Like sometimes you don't get to choose them, but sometimes you do, and I think it's a unique opportunity to really, I don't want to say be selective, but at least be really mindful of who is in that community and how to reach out to them. And you appreciate the quality time with them more.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, what made you guys start the YouTube channel? Just one day you're rolling down the road and you're like, yeah, I'm going to start it.
So when as Joe mentioned, we decided to just start by taking a year off, and we were going to go back to work. So we never had this intention to start a YouTube channel. We had a blog that we were going to share our travels with our friends and family. But through Instagram, we noticed that another full-time travel couple was nearby. So we reached out and said, hey, do you mind getting together? And we did. And they happened to just stick a camera in our face and said, well, you're going to be on our vlog, so you better start producing content so that when we send viewers to you, they have something to watch.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started.
Well,
wow.
We also, the other thing too is we kind of talk about this. So I wrote a book because multiple books, but my first book, Take Risks, it kind of covered all the things that from when Kate came up with this idea to hit the road full time to when we actually launched, like that first day, all the stuff that happened. And part of that was actually we tried shooting a YouTube video.
A vlog.
Yes.
Yeah, our first vlog.
Our first vlog. We tried shooting it because I was like, well, maybe we should start a YouTube channel. We can make videos about all our adventures. So Kate, one morning, our last day of work, like put a camera on me and she starts filming me, and it did not go well.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Is that when you were moving into, no, you were in a Class A first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she put this camera in my face on the highway as we're going to work, and I was not having it. So for people that have been following us for a long time, or just anyone, you can go back through our catalog and that video is still up. It's one of our oldest videos.
Yeah.
Because we came out later and we took that footage, put it together, and we're like, well, here it is.
Here's what it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a hot mess.
I forgot about that video.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that we were like, nope, YouTube is not happening for us.
And it was funny too, because when we started, I felt like, me being you might call me like a late Gen Xer. The whole idea of selfies and, walking through and videotaping yourself, and I still call it videotape. It was a really like negative thing for me, like thought of, I didn't want to be that person walking around with like my phone and a GoPro or all this stuff and being that guy. Well, then we started making these videos, and I remember I was our first vlog that we did, we went to Walmart, and I was going to pick up some stuff to change the oil in our RV. So I was going to film it. Well, I remember running through Walmart trying to find aisles where no one was. And I'd look around and be like, all right, cool. And I'd hit record on the GoPro and I'd start talking, and someone would come around the aisle and I'd like hide and run somewhere else.
Now you don't even notice it.
No, I don't.
Yeah. It's all about your comfort level.
Mm-hmm. Now
Yeah,
I'm
that's
that guy.
true. It's kind of like the bathroom situation. Eventually, you'll overcome it.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you use the bathroom in your mode?
Actually, I try not to. I wasn't a fan of the cassette toilet. I don't know. I just had something against it, and I didn't want to like dump it out. So I ended up switching out for the Laveo dry flush toilet.
Oh, yeah.
And because the refills are hard to get because you're on the road, so mail's kind of hard to get. At least for me. And B, I was concerned about water, and so it would save me water. But then the last thing, one of the reasons why I don't use it as much is because it's just really expensive to buy the refills.
Yeah,
So,
we looked into that, and it was just like, it's fine if you're just going out for a weekend, but full-time living,
Yeah.
it gets pricey.
Yeah. I think when I looked at it, it was over $1 a flush or something like that.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's really cool to like watch it spin around, and like it reminds me of being in a spaceship or something. But
Yeah.
like at the same time, I'm watching my number 1 and 2 just spin around. Like
Right.
this is weird. So, but actually, I was talking with a gentleman, Toby McGraw, yesterday when I was doing another podcast, and he told me about these little bags that you can buy like at REI, and they have chemicals, and so they actually fit the cassette toilet in that comes with a mode, and so he doesn't deal with the water. He just double bags or double seals them, and like you just throw them away. And so
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what
I
we
might
do.
try that. Oh, is that okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, for number
Yeah.
2. For number 1, we just use our toilet.
Yeah.
Works out well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I try to answer your question, I try to avoid using the bathroom, but I'm sure as you found, finding a public restroom really isn't that hard. So,
Hmm.
No.
and then this might be TMI, but I'm on a routine, and so I know like when I need to actually have porcelain.
Hmm.
So I try to time my mornings out that way. But yeah, so when was it that you actually knew that you guys were kind of a big thing on YouTube? Like, was there a specific moment in time where you're just like, wow, this is happening, you better embrace it?
So it was September. So we'd been making YouTube videos for just shy of a year.
Mhm.
And we were in Costco picking up supplies like food and stuff. You know what I'm going to say
Yeah.
now. Okay.
I remember now.
And Kate and I are just standing in line, and it's so strange to think in this like a pre-COVID world where you like stood right next to people.
Right.
We're standing, and this guy is in front of us, and he turns around and he goes, "You're the Russos." He's like, I recognized your voices, and I knew who you are, in the middle of a Costco. We're like, this is weird, but I guess we
Wow.
made it.
We never expected that to happen. Yeah.
No.
That was very surreal moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was also, people are recognizing us.
Yeah.
Our anonymity is gone.
And I'll say the funniest story we've had with that happening was we were flying to China. And as we were passing through the security in the U.S., I went through, and I always wear these really heavy cargo pants, and the pockets, when you stand in the little scanner, the pockets always set off the scanner, so they have to pat you down. Well, they wave me forward. The guy says, "I'm going to pat you down." And he's patting like up my legs, and he looks up at me and he goes, "Loved your last book."
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah.
so crazy and awesome at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, we've had a
Wow.
bunch of like TSA agents talking to us as our bags are going through, and they're like, "Oh, you're the Russos." And I'm like, yeah, can I get my stuff? But it's all been good, and we love meeting people, so it's fun.
That's awesome. I mean, I can't imagine what it'd be like just to be minding your own business and all of a sudden someone comes up and be like, I know who you are. And you're like,
just got to be careful you're not like picking your nose or something.
Yeah, always in the public eye. How has, speaking of COVID, how has COVID affected your travels?
Right before COVID hit, we were actually in Europe on a family vacation to celebrate Joe's birthday. And as things started shutting down in Europe, we decided to cut our 3-week trip short and just fly back to the States, which was a good decision.
Otherwise, we would have been stuck there.
Yeah. And in the beginning, I think we just didn't have enough information. So we decided to hunker down for a little bit and just wait things out. And as more information started coming out and it seemed like people were starting to travel responsibly and just kind of do their thing, we got back on the road.
Yeah, we've
been good
traveling ever since. So I think we took a little over a month off, and
we did 30,000 miles last year.
Yeah, 30,000 miles, and that's 1 month, a little over a month off and not traveling anywhere. So I think for us, we looked at it as whether you were living at home or on the road, you still have to go out and buy food and get supplies and things like that. You still have to interact with people on some level, but at the same time, we could make the choice of when and where. The other thing is most of our camping is done off grid. So we're out in the forest with no one around, and it's not something we really have to concern ourselves with when we're there.
How has it been for you? Because you launched while COVID was going on, right?
Yeah. So I launched right before the second wave or whatever they call it. But it was hard because it kind of depended on what state. So like certain states, the mindset was COVID wasn't a big deal. Everything was open, which was fine. But then like especially with California, Washington, Oregon, California, when I went there, everything was shut down. And so it was kind of difficult for me to get water was the biggest struggle, and to take a shower. So those two, play hand in hand. And so luckily I was only on the West Coast for a month, and then I came to Tucson actually for Christmas with my sister. But yeah, it wasn't, I didn't like it, to be honest. Especially the no shower part. I was pretty concerned, and I don't know what you guys did, but I would go into like a campsite, it was closed, or I would go into like an RV park and they're like, no, we're not gonna, if you're not staying here, you can't have our water. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you money. And they're like, no. And I was like, okay. So it was pretty difficult, but
so tip for water is you can find water everywhere,
especially truck stops.
Yeah,
the Pilot truck stop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, gas stations,
free water.
Yeah, and you pull in, and most of the time you go around and just find a spigot or just a regular business.
Just ask them. We've never had anyone tell us no.
No.
We just go in and say, do you have a potable water spigot? And they'll just point you in the direction and let you fill up.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's really good to know.
Like a lot of the pilots have RV lanes, and they have an RV dump and stuff like that where you have to pay. But if you're not dumping, the water is free, and you just pull up and make sure which of the hoses is the potable water.
Right. You don't want the unpotable water.
Well, or you just use a filter like we do. Then it does. Like for us, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I wish I knew that like 4 months ago.
Well, now you do.
Yep.
I know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll be heading to Utah for, a month or two. So I'm definitely going to use that tip. So thank you. I appreciate it. Because that was my biggest concern, is just like, how am I going to get water? Because it was so stressful not being able to find water, and then like going without a shower for like, I think the longest I went was like 7 days. And, you can do the baby wipes and stuff, but it gets to a point where I felt like I was just smearing mud on myself, I was just like, there's no point of this.
Like that means you don't use the shower in your mode?
I used it once actually, and I actually really, really liked it. There's good water pressure. The water is so hot. Like that's the biggest thing that surprised me. I used a hair dryer to blow the shower curtain because I was kind of impatient because I wanted to go on a hike when I was in Big Bend. But yeah, I really liked it. So,
Well, for us, like when we were in the mode, we did. I think the max we did was 6 days off grid with water, and that included 2 showers for each of us, right?
Hmm.
Plus all the water for cooking and cleaning and everything else.
oh, that's not bad at all.
Like
No,
military showers.
yeah, you gotta like get wet. You just gotta get wet, turn the water off, soap
Lather
up,
up.
and then rinse quickly. The way our camper is set up now, for the shower drain, it comes out of the side of the camper. So we have a little bag we hook up to it that fills up. The bag is, I think it's 5 gallons. And when we each take a shower total, we probably only use about 2 gallons of water.
Hmm.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
When I took the shower, I used 20% of the water.
No.
Did you wash your hair? That might be part of it.
Yeah, I had to wash it twice because I hadn't taken a shower for like a week and it was
Hashtag
all
fail.
nasty. I know, it sucked. Oh, yeah, I have a lot to learn still, but I don't know what your experience was or if you even got to be able to take a shower when you guys were testing out the storyteller. But I mean, did you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
use the
yeah.
shower?
We took showers in it all the time.
Okay. And what were your thoughts on it?
Loved it. I
Yeah.
mean, it was one of those things where when we had the Heimer, we actually never took a shower in there. And one of the reasons was it had a hard-sided bathroom. And like I went in there to try to take a shower and there wasn't enough room for me to do this with my elbows. Like I had to shower like this. And then I remember I dropped the soap and I was like, how am I gonna, there's no way to bend over to grab that.
You had to open the door.
Yeah.
So you can bend over.
It was
Oh my
it was a
gosh.
total nightmare. And it was one of those things where I was like, I'm not showering in this anymore. When we got the mode and we tried that out, the curtain lets you like move around and there's space. And then when we were pricing out our current camper, we looked at the shower option and it was a pricey option, but we were like, we showered a lot in the mode, probably going to shower in this thing. Let's get it. And at first we were like, should we have spent that money? But then COVID hit and like we use Planet Fitnesses for showers. So same thing. You roll into a state like California and the Planet Fitness isn't even open.
Mhm.
So we were using the shower in our camper every other day.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. I gotta ask you guys. You guys are at the Storyteller HQ. You're wearing a Storyteller shirt. Kate, you got the beast on. I gotta ask. Are you getting a beast? What's going on? What are we doing?
We're here
We're
hanging
just
out.
hanging out.
We love these
Just-
guys.
They're good
Well,
people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't agree more. But just it's like, hey, what's up?
We're
Okay.
we're hanging out with them. We're doing some work with them, and I would, like we said, we love these guys. So anytime we are coming through Alabama, we will stop. I don't know if you saw the video or not, but when we first got our camper and we were on our shakedown trip, the roof started leaking, and we happened to be here when it was leaking. So, Jeffrey and the guys at Storyteller said, the shop is yours, whatever you need. So as soon as production stopped, I pulled the truck into into their shop and got working on it.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
that's the thing we love so much about Storyteller, and going back to the community. We didn't even buy a Storyteller.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a truck camper, but they still welcome us with open arms, and we can hang out in their office, do our stuff, and it's such a welcoming community, and we love that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't agree more. It's like something I've never experienced. So yeah, and then here I am talking to you guys. So
Yeah.
I mean, I can't complain, right? But you kind of touched, Kate, on my last question that I like to end every podcast with, which is, what does it mean to you, or to the two of you, to be part of the Storyteller community?
They're family.
Family, yeah. It's almost a built-in family that
Yeah.
you're just a part of, and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone we've met a lot of mode owners since we got our truck camper, And it's just such a great community of people. And they all come from all different walks of life. Everyone has a different story of why they're in a mode or just traveling. And it's been really nice to connect with everyone.
Yeah, I mean they give a very personal human feel to what this product is. And I think when we first met them at RVX, when they launched the prototype modes and they like told the world about them, they weren't producing anything yet. It was just the 2 prototypes that they had. We met everybody and we were like, these guys are really cool. And then we got a chance to meet up with them again. And it's just like every time we met with these guys, all of them were awesome, really nice people. Like Kait said, when we were out shopping, we didn't buy a mode, but we're still treated like family.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jeffrey may have shed a tear when we didn't buy a mode, but outside of that, it's one of those things. And we think they have a great product.
Yeah.
So that was what initially drew us to them, is in the van space, especially not necessarily the custom vans, but in the production van world, we think they have one of the, if not the best Class B van out there. Mm-hmm. And that's what drew us to them and what keeps us coming back.
I couldn't agree more. I think you're spot on, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My dog is doing his thing.
Oh, no worries.
Do we get to meet Kimchi?
Well, I have a fixed camera, but I'll lift him up. Come here.
Okay.
He's not a fan of being picked up, but...
Oh, if he's not a fan, you'd... Aw. Hi, Kimchi.
I don't know. He seems to be enjoying that.
Well, I've actually tried to get him not to jump on people. Hey, get out of the trash. Ani. I trained him in Korean, sorry. Ani. Hey. Okay. I trained him not to jump on people, and so that's why he doesn't like to, well, I wouldn't say he doesn't like to get picked up, but he doesn't like losing that control when you pick him up. Mm-hmm. And so he freaks out, but right there, I think he kind of premeditated that. Now he's like, enough. Anyways, sorry about that. Thanks for being patient. But yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, Joe. You're spot on with that. I think it's really about family, and like what we were talking about earlier, sometimes it's really difficult to find good people, to let in, to be that family. But it seems with the storyteller community, it's abundant. It's like all the awesome people just went,
Uh-huh.
So I think that's just testament, and the way that you're still treated as family, even though you don't have a storyteller, which, by the way, mark my words, I'm going to call it right here, right now, that I'm pretty sure within the next 2 years, you'll be in We're the Russo version of the Beast. Calling it right now.
We'll mark it.
Where's Jeffrey? I need to make this happen.
Yeah. That's why you think we're here, some like secret build a Russo mode project?
No, I think what it is in the Facebook group, there's just a lot of hype with what the 2022s are going to be, because there's all we know is that it's going to cost a little bit more, but there's also some other features coming out. And, I've talked with Jack from Volta, and I'm going to talk with some other people that, make the guts of the RV. And, I'm starting to piece things together. I'm putting things, and, I got nothing else to do but to speculate, and hope. It's really about hope, but everyone, because people are starting to put deposits down on 2022s and they don't know what they're putting a deposit on. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'll start that rumor hashtag storyteller.
Russo edition.
Yeah.
Well,
Russo edition.
We didn't say it. It was all
She's
you.
planting the seed.
Okay.
Planting the seed.
I'm trying to make it happen. I mean, I don't know.
Thank you.
No, but I mean, obviously, it would be super cool if you guys landed into a Beast. But I also know that you guys are really happy with the configuration that you have now, and you're still family. And at least for me, it doesn't matter what you ride in, just as long as you enjoy what you're doing. So you can go back. You can go back to a Class A or I don't even think they make the Heimers anymore, but you can go into something else, and I'll still consider you storyteller family.
Oh, thank you.
Anyways, well, I appreciate your time, and I thank you again so much for coming on to the STO Nation podcast. I want to be respectful of your time because I know that you guys are very busy planning your special edition beast. But anyways, I appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us. This was a lot of fun.
Great to meet you, and seriously, can't wait to meet you out on the road.
Same. I can't wait to share the road with you. STO Nation is a production of Park Media. The executive producer is Young-Hwa Kim. The audio engineer is
Stephen Grasso.
The marketing director is
Guillaume Golsong.
The original music and artists is done by
Jason Walsmith.
The sound designer is
Lorenzo Interiano.
and the assistant sound designer is
Peng.
Without any of these people, this podcast couldn't happen, so a big, huge thank you. And a big, huge thank you to you, the listener. If you like this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a 5-star review. This is Young-Hwa with STO Nation, and I can't wait to share the road with you.